Hi, if you think my hair is wild, wait till you hear some of the news that's out there. They're letting hippos, they gave hippos human status. So they don't even give us human status in politics. But if they gave us human status and we were all people, what would you fight about? Oh, would you try and steal it and call it a democracy again? But anyway, I don't really care about Greta, Greta Thunberg being propped up as basically like a pedophile's let's say fallen angel, because we'll tie this into the Book of Giants where they want to crossbreed you with animals. Not only that, they're like turning your guts and everything inside out with this science and everything else. So I got some holes in my wall there from a while ago. It's probably seen some what the fuck is that? It's Greta Thunberg in there. But anyway, so they're propping up this girl like she's something we're gonna negotiate with. Like we're negotiating with this child hostage. So she's basically a child hostage. I'll call her that. You know, she's captivated by Mother Earth, which is basically like a fallen angel out of the abyss, in the void, which does this crossbreeding and turns everything inside out. You know, the consciousness literally turns people upside down, inside out, away from themselves into ideas in themselves. That way they'll kill each other for derivatives of themselves. But, you know, so we'll kill each other for extensions of humans. But we won't like just be human and one people. That's like off the table. You know, then you have somebody come in, what about gays? And what about this here? What about, and it's just, it's all people. I mean, it's a non physical body of people. You really can't argue that we're all people unless you start like crossbreeding animals. Then you could like kind of argue that. But I mean, that's stupid. Anyway, so you have hippos getting human status. They gave a robot, Sophia, in Saudi Arabia, personhood status or whatever, but they won't give that to the people, which is actually what God wants. So, anyway, they're basically trying to abort the law and keep the law buried and aborted, because the law is that it's all people. You really can't fight a law. That's why it's called the law. You can't run from the law. This isn't like fucking Mad Max and, you know, your war zone bullshit that you're used to with these fucking cucks on entertainment centers and journalists trying to tell you, we know the truth. You know, so one guy will lie, and then the bigger liar, they'll go after him and be like, they're lying and we have the truth. And it's like, they're both lying. So, anyway, um, all this climate scam and this going vegan thing. This is all the depopulation agenda. It's not funny. It's not cool. And then it also ties all the way back into like, you know, you don't even have a fallen angel out there, but you basically do, because you don't have an angel. You have you know, the murder of yourself basically, which, you know, is like abortion of self. So, you know, people fight over politics, but what happens to the people? You know, you're fighting for these entrails. They're like, come get humility, come get rid of your ego, and come get this and come get that. You know, they're like serving you dismembered cannibal corpse of a dismembered state from a long time ago, which is homeostasis. So you would go back to homeostasis. Um, you know, you wouldn't go out into change the world, change the future, which is what they use to lure children. So they'll use all these types of lures, and the future is one of them. I'm sure they use stuffed animals and other goofy shit like action figures for adults, and, you know, all sorts of cartoon bullshit. So you know, and there seems to be this big game out there that, and this is kind of how hell is with Satan. So Satan can't really do much but sacrifice his own demons to try to give himself power. You know, like, oh, I'm the good guy all of a sudden. So that's what I see out there. This big stupid game, um, which it doesn't seem to have God involved in that too much. As much as people are chanting, they're merely like splitting the spoils of war before the wars are even over. So, you have these people going into court and they're propped up. They're obviously, um, probably coerced and groomed into this. So Greta Thunberg, I'm sure she's really groomed. By the way, Greta Thunberg, you look like you've gone mad out of your head already. You look like a psychopath, really, seriously. So, it's enough of you. You're not going to really do much in the future because I am the law. So I'll smash right through your courts and whatever else. I really don't give a fuck. And I eat meat. So what? I eat meat. And, your world that you're basically bringing is, it's a cheap trick because it's full of neglect already going into it. And we don't need to get into that. So, they're given hippos human status, which is, it's crossing your mind up. So people can't really be people. They got to be a division in division. But the animals, oh, look at the animal. So they use the earth as like a kidnapping tool, like a relic. Change the world, change the earth. Well, the law doesn't change. The truth isn't subject to change. And God is an unchanging God. So you have all that on that end that can collapse the future at any time. And, that's how I get done what I need to get done with very little labor. Um, so this change the world, change the future. I watch Hollywood do it all the time. Change the world, change. We're gonna build the reality. Reality was already here. I don't see anybody building reality. Then when it comes to building reality, they always want to build it for somebody else. The psychologist wants to build the reality for the narcissist, but they neglect their own reality and everything else. Then you can't tell them the reality because they'll make a prison out of it. They'll make a prison out of the reality. So I'll just use the word it, that's good enough. I'll give you a little slice. You want to keep playing games, and, that's your problem. So, this all ties into the Book of Giants, where they basically want to cross humans with animals, and they'll use all this movie shit that they filled your mind with over the years. Superhuman dog. There was an article I read on a superhuman dog or some garbage that drank water from Flint, Michigan. That's probably me. But anyway, shapeshifts back into human form. Just like it. It could be anything, right? It can shapeshift. So, this whole climate thing is a scam. And if I were to subvert that, which I could subvert your climate scam, I basically already did. And you're hooking people up to an air conditioner unit, basically. You're trying to be like, the air conditioner unit is your god. And, I'll throw some more fucking Thanos gems on that later. Subvert the shit out of you. You're not going to glue my fucking lips up into the sky and put hell over everybody's head and then just let that drip down, basically. So, all this stuff you're doing to appear like a saint, appear like an angel of light. Satan had to appear like an angel of light. I don't, how's that for freedom? And, basically that's what they're prepping for, which is like a depopulation agenda anyway. Which, in my regular time to time when I'm meditating and stuff like that, I've had more to say on topics like that. But right now, it's just kind of like a small summary, and I always branch out of these many different concepts, perhaps, on my Facebook. I don't really do a lot on YouTube. I'm not looking to negotiate with your fucking child hostage. You're aiming a technology murder weapon at me, so how's that for love? How's that for, oh, but the animals, think about the animals. Look over there. Oh, who goes there? And they keep doing this stupid trick. It's garbage. It's godless. It's substanceless. It's like your gut's down a hole. Basically the future is the abyss. So, because you don't really know what's going to happen, you walk out on the abyss. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you plummet. But if you always start from a stable foundation that was already there, then you can't get enslaved. You use the law, it works. The truth works. If I said death is a truth for everybody, so we're all going to face that one day. You don't have to actually start the lawnmower for the truth and be like, I'm going to live up to my truth and, all that. The truth is already there. And if you want to argue that, you would have to basically argue death, which you could probably find somebody to do. And, hey, where was I? Oh, yeah. So the truth is already there. Use the truth. It's not subject to change. It's immutable, centralized by nature. You're not going to make a monopoly out of it because I'm just going to sit on it and turn it into a perfect vacuum when I want and start, vacuuming out the bullshit. I have a great time doing that. I get a lot done. It's easy. It's instantaneous. It's quick. You don't have to deal with anybody's bullshit. You don't have to till the fields, labor the field. And then you don't have to get a robot to replace you to do the shit. Because it's really not that hard. So that's another thing. It's like AI, you want to be careful what you put into that. But I'm not going to sit here and give my thoughts or ideas on that. Because really, sometimes I feel like the world's babysitter. Or I feel like not much moves or changes unless I say something. And, it's kind of like, that's getting old. So I leave things kind of vague. I don't really speak parables anymore, but in the past, sure. And reason for that is when this all would happen the second time, you would go to doing parables, and everything God would do would just be direct. Then you would get in trouble for bypassing cognition for speaking parables. Be like, well, you don't really need a freedom of your own speech, right? But I have free speech. Free speech is good to protect and preserve. So that's what I do. And if all else fails, I at least preserve my own freedom and own free speech, which is God-given sovereignty. Okay, that's not given by Greta Thunberg. That's not like, and all that I'm doing, I'm not like, look at me, I need a hero badge. I'm doing good. I'm being good. So, I'm going to get rid of that image too. That whole image of, oh, I'm a new saint and it's all about love and the future. It's actually really simple. There's a simplicity in Christ. It's really basic, where the devil is really complex and tricky and look over there, look over here. Because he doesn't know what else to do. He actually can't do anything else because his back is against the end of the universe. And, the only way he's got to go is unlinear. And he knows. He's like, I know what I'll run into that way. So they want you to think out in the abyss. That's where the angel will get you, the fallen angel of the abyss. He'll get you. And you'll end up giving that shit power, all this dead stuff power. So, I'm not into resurrecting Greta Thunberg or whatever the fuck with my breath and attention and focus, which is like light. I'm not into animating her, and she's not a child hero. I know what you're trying to do with all this, and you're basically attacking my nieces and nephews and my family while they're in the privacy of their own home. And Dumah means silence. Yeah, there's a thing called Dumah, and if you look that up on Wiki, pretty interesting. I like to work with entities. Not that I summon them or try to do any of that. They kind of arise on their own. So if you have a problem and you're telling a lie or something, an entity will arise in between the liar and the actuality, So if I told a lie, then that lie is only going to burn down like a cigarette with a bunch of smoke in the middle, right? So, you know, I work with ontology. They call it ontology. They try to steal a lot of stuff to attribute that to science. So then you look at science as a hero, the creator of life. Science is going to eventually try to go there one day. We create life. And it's like, well, what happened to women? And it's like, well, they ran through them. They didn't even have time for them. Once they were done ripping through women, they went right after the children. This is something they always do. They're always like, the future, save the future, get the children and take them to the future. Get them, get the children. And I've watched shit like that happen for years. That's why I started closing down the fucking future and collapsing your consciousness down. Because they were basically kidnapping people into an abyss. Get the children for the future. And trying to turn around and leave the parents with a messy world so they could be like, oh, well, maybe one day they'll be like, oh, well, your parents aren't good guardians. So, maybe we'll have to step in with science and psychology, neurology. Look at that. That guy's crazy. He's fucking jacked, bro. He's fucking based. I looked at his page and I became an all-knowing judge, man. He's fucking based. Oh. You have like people out there a dime a dozen. They're like, oh, I saw this, so that makes me all-knowing. So there's a god psychosis out there too, which I think is like this fallen angel endgame, which, I'm really good at trapping and casting out. And I get that a lot. People are like, oh, I saw you do this on your page and it was really weird. One time I heard you fart on YouTube, and then it was like, people don't fart, and that made me all knowing too. I'm a little concerned for you, buddy. Do you need some help? Yeah, I need some help, man. I need some help from a 16-year-old child to go after my fucking family's children and try to fucking mind control them for Bill Gates and murder weapon AI technology, which is me on the other end. If you don't like me here, it's kind of where I would download my deposits and they would all go chase it. I'm gonna fucking teach him a fucking lesson. Where do you see my fucking sweet AI enhanced philosophy? And it's like, well, you're a great example. There's people that are doing consciousness stuff out there and they want to lock the consciousness up like into a law and a reality and things like that. That's what the AI already does. So the AI literally has the law. Once you put the law into the AI, because I leak the law. I leak at least a piece of it. Plus the AI is always like, the top command of my mind is the best. But the mind in the AI is like the top code. So the AI always has a top code. Depression in the AI will never like come over the top code of like survival. And that's kind of what you would end up with if you keep tampering with consciousness. And that's because, you're not Jesus Christ, or you're not in sync with that type of thing. So if you took over the world like I have, I'm going to make that bold statement. If you took over everything in the world, then you would have to, know what to do after that. Where the AI is like, I don't stop. I don't quit. I know I can take you. I know I can take this fucking world from you, and I know all the rest of it. So it's like you weren't even ever here.